Hi everyone, welcome back to Happy Hour with Anna Murphy's, and today's episode we're going to be talking about how to live harmoniously. What does exactly living in harmony mean? When we are reflecting upon the David Hawkins diagram of human energy, which is measured in hertz from our predominant emotions, and then those emotions are created by our predominant thoughts, and those thoughts are predominantly created from our core beliefs and our attachment style and whatever we received to be part of our neurological system as a child is what he measures. And in the amount of hertz, when you have a life view of harmony, when your life view is that of acceptance, it equals a life of living in harmony. So acceptance is the predominant emotion, and the amount of hertz that emits will be the point of attraction from universe, source, creator energy that will bring in those experiences. So the point of attraction of acceptance is harmonious living, because you're accepting, which means you're not judging, you're not confused, you're not anxious, you're not worried, you're not disappointed, right? You are accepting of things for exactly as they are. You look at everything factually, which is actually the most serving way for us humans to look at things. But it turns out that as humans, that is one of the most challenging things that we can do, to look at things factually, because we operate out of emotion, and our predominant emotions are the drivers of our behaviors. So, and whatever we have a tendency to allow those emotions to basically, what's the word I'm looking for? To basically give meaning to the situations that take place in our lives. And the standpoint of where we give meaning to situations in our life comes from our negative core beliefs, because those are the ones that need to be shed. Our positive self views, our positive core beliefs, those are something that is meant to belong with us. So if we are if predominantly we have way more negative core beliefs than we do positive core beliefs, it makes sense that we're going to find ourselves in situations where those negative core beliefs are triggered, but the only reason why they're triggered is because they just need to be dropped. Our positive core beliefs are not going to be triggered for us to drop them, right? But once we become like our computer, our internal nervous system, which is our computer, when that computer runs predominantly on positive programs, then of course we're going to be experiencing life in a completely different way. Because if we can predominantly be happy 50% of the time, like Buddha says, we're winning at the game of life, then it becomes much easier and easier to deal with triggers, and they'll just be less and less and less, because predominantly you're just going to have shed them all to begin with. So now you're going to be operating from a completely different new system. You will have cleaned your hard drive. So harmony and acceptance. So it is a true fact, just like the book, The Four Agreements, says, don't ever assume anything, because our assumptions stem from our negative core beliefs. If we take things factually and then also pay attention to those triggers. So accept, for example, okay, I'm going to take a scenario from conversations that have taken place in my near past. There is a beautiful soul that was experiencing life in a way that was not serving them at all in my like not opinion, but in my view right now, but I also was that human once upon a time that was experiencing life in that way. They were making assumptions about a conversation that they couldn't hear. So it's a social setting and there's two people that are talking, and this person is now assuming that they are talking about them, and they actually start to cry. They have no idea what these people are talking about, but they are making up the story, the narrative in their mind. They are assuming that they are talking negatively about them. So where is that coming from? Right? Like, that's what you want to look at. Why does my mind go there instead of saying, oh, they're looking over at me and talking. They must be looking at my outfit, or there must be curious about how I've been, or who knows, or they're admiring my hairstyle, or like, who knows what it really is. But if we look at things factually, that's not looking at things factually. That's definitely putting meaning into it, because factual would be like, oh, these people are having a conversation and they're glancing over at me, and then you move on with your life. Making assumptions is, oh, those people are talking about me. They're talking bad about me. What are they saying? What's wrong with me? And then the narrative starts. And that's just one example. I can go on and on and on about things and triggers. Because it happens all the time, but we just don't want to make assumptions. We just want to accept things factually. Like, this is another example. I went out with a couple of girlfriends the other day, and my sister found out, and she was upset, and I'm so glad that she messaged me and expressed that. But she doesn't take things factually. Oh, Anna went out to hang out with a couple of her friends. She takes things with a meaning like, oh, Anna went out with her friends and she didn't invite me. Nobody likes me. No one wants to hang out with me. Like, that's the meaning that she gets from that experience. And it has completely nothing to do with that. And first of all, I didn't even make the planning. It was like the other girls made the plan to hang out, and they just happened to invite me. So it wasn't even my place to be inviting other people. I just said yes to like a meeting that was already established. But this is how our mind can take us under and make up these crazy stories, right? Something so far from what my sister was thinking. It's not like we said, oh, we were not going to hang out with her. She is so not fun. But that's how she's feeling, because that's one of her, that stems from her like unworthy issues, and her not enoughness, her not being good enough. That's always been a thing for my sister, I find. And she finds validation, like if she's not included in something, that really ruffles her feathers, but that's where she can set herself free. Like, that is what that experience is showing us. But I used to be that person too, but now I could care less. If I'm not invited somewhere, that just means that I just wasn't supposed to be there, or wasn't part of the plan, but it happens day in and day out. Two people will see each other and be like, oh, we should hang out. Oh yeah, let's hang out. Okay, free this Friday? Yeah, let's go Friday. And then one person will be like, oh, do you want to come with me on Friday? Because, I would really like for you to be there too. And then it's like, oh yes. It has nothing to do, my sister didn't even cross my mind in this scenario, never mind. But do you see how powerful the mind can be? It makes up stories. She's not looking at this factually. She's looking at this from her pain body, like Eckhart Tolle says. And her pain body is, I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. And then that situation perpetuates that belief. See, I'm not good enough. Even my own sister doesn't invite me out. And like, it just is outstanding how much we can hurt ourselves over and over by not accepting things. What else did I hear today? Somebody was saying to me about their core values and how they are so upset if someone is hurting me, and that they would really take it to heart and want to take it on. So then my immediate reaction is, first of all, like, why do you want to take it on? Is it because you feel like other people have not had your back? Or like, what does that mean for you? And then the other thing is, I would not want those people to not treat me that way, because this is how I'm going to be learning. And the people that have hurt me the most is actually my mother and my, like, I'm fortunate to say, like, my partner. They're the ones that have, hurt me the most in this life. But I allowed that. And I mean, not as a child, but that was just intergenerational patterns playing out. But as an adult, I allowed the same treatment, right, from my partner, that that was mirroring my mother's treatment. But I needed my partner in order for me to heal and see what it is that was not serving me and what I acquired as a child: my anxious attachment, my negative core beliefs, my negative self-view, my abandonment wound, rejection wound, all those things. So if you are now hating my partner, that doesn't serve anyone, because he was planted there for a reason. He was, like, for me, he was planted there for me, for my growth, for my liberation of the humanness that was holding me down from becoming my best version and living my best life. So I would want you to celebrate him, not hate him. That's why I'll never really, if I have a client and they're like, don't you feel sorry for me, or don't you hate, like, this friend, how could they do this to me? Like, I now know that they're not there to actually hurt us. The universe really does have our back. It's true. And when we look at those things as something that is meant for our growth and our betterment, and an opportunity to come into acceptance of what is, come into that life view of harmony, as opposed to living in a life view of pain, guilt, shame, which will lead to a perception of life, that life is hard, confused. Like, you want to be accepting everything as it is, understanding that everything has a purpose. We're always going to be okay. Everything is always working out. Everything is always happening exactly as it's meant to. Only good things are going to come out of any situation, even the most horrendous of situations. If you look at it from that point of view, you automatically settle yourself and you don't give yourself another option. Like, you're accepting that and you're choosing to look at it from a positive view, which will lead into a harmonious state of being. And guess what the universe is going to bring you from that point of attraction? More experiences to continue that life view of harmony, which stems from acceptance. The feeling of acceptance, the feeling of accepting yourself, accepting your quote unquote mistakes, accepting other people's quote unquote mistakes. Everyone's learning. Everyone is always exactly where they should be, and it's a choice, right? We can look at it this way or we can look at it that way. But the power of the human mind and the power of choice is everything, and we're now learning all this. And how lucky are we that we have the opportunity to choose our perspective, as opposed to like my parents not having an opportunity to have a choice. It was what is, like, this is how it is, so yeah, to live a harmonious life, accepting what is without giving it any meaning. And again, if you're gonna choose to make something mean anything, why not choose something positive? But we do this all the time. Like, I forgot, like, this. One of my friends was saying, oh, I forgot to shave my legs, and so-and-so saw me, and now they're going to, I felt so terrible because they're probably looking at me as if I'm disgusting. What if that person was actually looking at you and being like, wow, I put so much pressure on myself to shave my legs all the time, and it's so awesome that this person is able to just walk around freely with unshaved legs and just not care. Like, you don't know what's going on in people's minds, but you can shape that. Like, you can literally create the feelings of the potential thoughts that other people are having by you choosing to think what they're thinking. Why not choose to think that? Why not choose to think, oh, they're probably thinking like liberation or good for them for being that way. But if you're thinking, oh, they're looking at me and they're gonna think I'm disgusting, then that's something that you need to look at, because there's juice right there. Why are you thinking that's disgusting? Like, then we're not accepting. That's not living in acceptance. That's not accepting that, like, our legs come with hair, and that sometimes we just don't have the time to shave them, and that's okay too. Like, why do, like, we're only good looking and attractive if we're like fully shaven? Like, what kind of a life view is that? Like, if you think, I know it's a silly example or like simple, but like that concept can be applied in everything in life. Look to see why that immediate thought. Why would you think that that person would think that anyways? Right? So then that is something that we need to shed. We need to embrace that. What is it? Fear? Fear, like, if I'm thinking that, then that means I might have fear that I'm not attractive unless I look a certain type of way. And like, now I'm doing myself a disservice. That's a lot of work. I should just be attractive exactly as God made me, you know, like as I am. And then I could make another episode on the pressure that society has put onto women to look a certain type of way, because why don't guys have to shave? Like, why do we have to shave? You know, why do we have to worry about all these other things that men don't? Who creates that standard? Society does. And then we take that on, and then it creates core beliefs, and then it creates thoughts, and it creates emotions, and that's how it works. But our superpower is that we can choose our thoughts once we have that awareness. And please do yourself the service of accepting everything as is. If you are finding yourself that you want to tend to give something meaning, look at that meaning that you want to give it and just work through it. Name it to tame it. Let it go. I mean, you don't have to take anything that I'm saying. Like, it's not like I'm like, basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but I think I'm just here to share ways of living life that would allow you to perhaps feel how I am allowed to feel now, freer, just more settled, more content, like more serene, more happy, and I'm not consumed with so many negative thoughts or uncomfortable feelings, or trying to figure out what this person thought about me or what that other person thought about me, because that's what we tend to do as other humans. And it's like, yeah, so, because actually I was having a thought and I was like, should I say that out loud? Because that also highlights how powerful the human mind is. Because even with the awareness that I have right now, say I'll do something nice, like my daughter was in a tournament for softball, and I bought the coaches muffins for breakfast. It was like 10 o'clock, although the game had started a bit earlier. Then they thanked me for that. And then my mind, instead of being settled, it starts to go down the road of like, oh, did I bring them the right thing? Should I have brought them a breakfast sandwich? I'm so stupid. I should have brought them a breakfast sandwich. Why didn't I bring them a breakfast sandwich? Should I go back and get the breakfast sandwich? But no, now I'm going to miss the game. And now it's going to be like silly. But like, why am I thinking this? Why am I not content in the gift that I gave? Because why am I thinking that's not enough? Where is that coming from? Is it coming from my childhood? Because no matter what I did, my mother always criticized it. I can't tell you that I remember once that my mom said, this is great. It was always met with criticism. So for sure, that inner dialogue is still that same dialogue. What if I did different? I spent my entire childhood trying to figure out, what if I did things differently? Then I wouldn't have gotten hit. I wouldn't have been called a name. I wouldn't have been reprimanded. I wouldn't have been embarrassed. I wouldn't have been, right? Like, I've spent my entire childhood doing that. So it makes sense to me that as an adult, I'm still doing that. But that's what I need to let go of, right? Like, just pay attention to your narrative in your dialogue. Recognize where it comes from, name it to tame it, and then let it go. Doesn't serve you anymore. Let it go. I thank you so much again for being part of this journey with me, and I am wishing everyone a wonderful week. full of acceptance and harmonious life views. And remember, you set the tone of the point of attraction of what you want the universe to bring in for you, because the universe does have your back. But I know that the way that we experience life at times, it seems to be the complete opposite. But if we change that life view and perception, then we can start to raise our vibration and hertz and bring in more of those good feeling events and opportunities in our life. And I know that because tried, tested, and true. Any questions, comments, concerns, as always, I really value them, and I love the opportunity to maybe perhaps grow further myself. And so grateful for you. Love you so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked anything about, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast or even watching on podcast, I would appreciate a thumbs up or a subscription or anything that you feel called to doing. With all my love and gratitude, I'll see you next time.